Good morning and welcome to the Liberty North Football Press Conference. This weekend the Eagles took a pretty tough one on the chin, 30-0 to Kearney. Kearney has an excellent football team, and we played. I'm very encouraged about how well we played defensively and up front on the offensive line. We have a long ways to go with the handling of football. And that proved to be our Achilles heel in the football game. I'd like to open it for questions.
Park Hill is up next, and they outscored their opponent 161 to 49. How are you guys preparing to stop their offense?
Well, the same way we do every week, we look at their formations and the plays that they like to run out of each formation. We try to get to know our opponent and then try to put our kids in the right places. And then have them go out and play good, hard-nosed football. And so it's really the same as every week. You mentioned their scoring differential there. They're 4-1 right now. They lost to Park Hill by 1. They went for a 2-point conversion at the end of the game to try to win it, or they could have put that game into overtime. They've beaten some good football teams. Our schedule just works out that way this year. We've played 4-1 Staley, who's ranked number 2 in the state. We've played 5-0 Liberty, who's ranked number 4 in the state or so, and we've played 5-0 Kearney, who's ranked number 1 in the state, and now we have 4-1 Park Hill South, who's also ranked in the state around 6 or 7, I believe. So. And it doesn't get any easier as it goes, and we ought to be good enough to beat all of those teams. The difference is, when you're playing that kind of schedule, and after we have Park Hill South, we have a very good St. Joe Central, and after St. Joe Central, we have a very good Park Hill. So when you play that type of schedule, you can't have that week where you're just not playing well, or that week where you're not hanging on to the football, or that week where you've got to be your best every single week. And unfortunately, to this point, we haven't seen our best. It's either been due to things that are outside of our control, like injuries, or it's been due to not having a long enough attention span. It seems that we've played really well in the first half of most games. Not super well, but we've played well, and then the second half we've kind of taken a break. And so, when you're playing really good football, when you're playing average football teams, I mean, we're a good football team. If we're playing an average football team, we could play one good half, be up 20-0, and then play a bad half and win the game 20-0. If you're playing a really good football team, you might have a little lead or be slightly behind at halftime, and then the second half, there's just going to be a collapse. So what we have to do is worry about ourselves more than our opponents right now, and making sure that we get things right for 4 quarters.
How has the loss against Kearney affected the team during practice this week?
Well, there's only 2 directions to go after a win or a loss, and that's either get better or get worse. Okay, nobody stays the same, and so we've always been a week-to-week football program, whether we win 5 or 6 games in a row or whether we lose a couple, and we'll continue just to be week to week. Our goal is not to worry about. Not to celebrate over a big win, not to worry about a big loss, and get ready for the next team.
Okay. Now that Kenton Brandeberry's injured, do you have anyone in mind that you'd like to put in his place for this week?
Well, Kenton is a good running back, and he's another one of our injury bugs. In 2015, we made it through the whole season without a single injury. This year, we've already missed. If you count up the injuries and suspensions, we've already missed 8 games worth of football out of young men, and that hurts. That hurts in the big picture. Kenton's injury will hurt too, because our next running back is Malachi Hughes, who's also injured, So we're moving Andy Burkhalter back to running back where he was before we moved him out to wide receiver. So he should be able to pick it up and do a good job. The big thing is we have to quit getting hurt.
While the team hasn't been held to successive losses this season, it hasn't achieved successive wins either. Do you feel that this is an issue, not being able to get a winning streak, or do you think it's just a coincidence?
Well, the big thing is people like to look for things like that. I know, but the big thing is we haven't played well once, much less consecutive weeks. Our opponents have a whole lot to do with whether we win or lose also. And so, we want to win them all. So the fact that we don't have a 5-game winning streak right now is really disappointing. In terms of when the wins and losses are coming, it's pretty irrelevant to us. What we need to do is just become a better football team.
Taylor Baden's shoulder seems to be holding him back. Do you plan on making any changes at the quarterback position?
I don't think Taylor's shoulder was a problem last week. I don't think it gave him any pain at all. I think that the problem last week was, it was just a rough night for everybody on our team who put the ball in their hands. Interestingly enough, as a coach, last week's game is kind of an oxymoron because I was really pleased with the defense. We held an explosive Kearney team to 6 first downs. The defense did everything that they could, and I was really happy with the offensive line who was doing a great job of moving Kearney kids and winning a lot of blocks. We were physically tougher than them in the trenches, believe it or not. Our problem was, the guys who get the ball in their hand weren't taking care of the ball, and that wasn't related to shoulder. A lot of that might have been related to play calling. If I had to do that game over again, we would have lined up. We would have lined up 2 tight ends, a fullback, a running back, gone under center, and just tried to pound on them. But we thought that we saw some things that we could take advantage of in the way they played defense, and we weren't able to execute it. And that's a coaching mistake. One that won't happen again. I want to thank everybody for coming, and see you next week.